Hello, church, and welcome to another daily devotional as we continue at a time when we're physically distanced from one another. So I'll pose a question to you as we begin a week on the topic of struggle. Have you ever been in a situation where you've had a choice to do the right thing or to stay protected in whatever comfort of not making any waves, not doing anything that would cause attention to yourself? I don't know, maybe a classmate or a coworker tells an overtly racist joke in front of somebody who's clearly a minority in a disparaging way. Maybe it's you're in college and you notice one of your female co-eds has had too much to drink and has overheard the guy who has invited her back to his place talking to his friends in a way that you know she's not going to have a clear mind or facilities about her. And you contemplate intervening and making sure she gets home safe and into a non-compromising situation. Maybe it's something more lighthearted, but in all of our lives, we're put into situations where we have to choose between doing what's right and doing what's popular. So in the Bible, there's a young prophet, Jeremiah. In the 38th chapter of Jeremiah is talking to many of the leaders of Israel, and he tells them exactly what God has told him to say, which is, if you stay in the city of Jerusalem, you'll all die by the sword, by famine, or by the plague that is to come. But if you go over to the Babylons are attacking Jerusalem, they're the enemy. He says, if you make peace with the Babylons, if you let them take you, they're going to win this war, go into exile with them, and you'll escape with your lives, and God will be with you. But if you stay here and fight, you're all going to be annihilated. This place will be ruined. Not a very patriotic speech, it turns out, for the people of Israel. Not a very popular speech. And these people that he tells them to, what God has told him to say, they throw him in a well without any water, just full of mud, and the town is under not quarantine, it's under siege, so they're running out of food, and they leave him there to die. And people go to the king and say, King Zedekiah, these people Jeremiah's preached an unpopular word as a young man, young prophet, and they're going to let him die out there. They're not giving him any food, any water. He's either going to die of exposure or die of starvation for doing what God has told him to do, doing the right thing, the unpopular thing. Now, we've been, as a nation, under stay-at-home orders nationally, shutdown orders, lockdowns, some states more strict than others. Some are going back fully or lifting restrictions. But in the midst of this, I've seen all kinds of pushback. People complaining, Costco can't make us wear masks. How dare they? This is a violation of my rights. I don't have to do this to go shopping. Even though these people might want to protect their employees who are there all the time and exposed to hundreds of shoppers. It's not so much about the people who are asked to wear the mask, it's about the people around them. I've heard all kinds of attacks on governors and national leaders, and then you hear all kinds of conspiracy theory talk. I think the BBC did an article on conspiracy theories, and 80 million people clicking on, pandemic and info medic, or all these, it's Chinese, it's automating the workforce, it's class warfare, it's rigging the election. And here are people, doctors and nurses, first responders, people saying, hey, let's try and do the right thing. Be careful. Be careful for your neighbors. Wear a mask if you're out in public in a group of people. I know it's inconvenient, but the thing that this isn't a public health message from me to you. I'm not a doctor, but it is a message to consider how we're responding to people. If you're in their shoes, if you're in the shoes of Jeremiah, if you're in the shoes of the governor or president or a doctor or uh, a mayor, a local mayor, at a time like this, people are trying to do the right thing, and we're just attacking one another in ugly ways. Now more than ever is a time of struggle, yes, but it's also a time in struggle to ask how you are going to be a carrier of good news, not virus, a carrier of good news in how we react and interact with conspiracy theories, with people who are going to just be ugly in grocery store lines or department store lines. And so I ask you, anybody who's listening to this, just because there's quarantine or stay-at-home orders or restrictions on workplaces doesn't mean that Jesus suddenly say, you're not the light of the world right now. Do whatever you want. So how can we be light? How can we have courage like Jeremiah to say and do the right thing, even when there are those who oppose it? Jeremiah nearly was killed for doing what he believed God asked him to do. And let's make a distinction from the state rep in Ohio that said, I don't have to wear a mask because, this is the image of God, my face. Not what that text is talking about, folks. Can we use this and our hearts and our souls to be the light and salt of the earth when everybody's hurting? The whole world is facing this. Can we show a little compassion, a little grace, a little mercy? I hope we can. I hope you continue, especially now, to be salt and light in times of struggle. God's strength and courage be with you while we're apart from one another, but we've still got work to do. Amen.